Hello, welcome to Mindset to Results. Today, our guest is Christofel Schneider. He is renowned expert in human potential and transformation. He worked as a trainer and as a coach with 13,000 people from 33 countries and has more than 30 years of experience combining human science, potential neuroscience, and he is also an author of Three Brain Intelligence Theory. So we are going to speak today about very interesting topic. What gets us stuck, how to get unstuck by knowing ourselves better. Hi, Christopher.
Hey, Elena, good. For me, it's good morning. Good morning. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too. You're most welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You have such a huge experience, 30 years in this industry, and you worked with executives, with leaders from different industries, and you have so much to share. So I'm really excited about this episode and looking forward to discover more and share with our audience. Tell us a little bit about you. What may be the biggest discoveries for you within these 30 years about human nature and human potential?
Thank you, Elena. Yeah, I will keep it short because you're right. 30 years of coaching people worldwide because I lived in Australia, I lived in Spain, and I'm originally Dutch. I worked all over the world, as I said, with 33 countries. I've seen people and coached people from. So for me, what was the biggest discovery and almost also the biggest frustration I always had is that although people know what they should do, that somewhere they don't do it. And the most simple example is on the 1st of January, a lot of people in the Northern Hemisphere makes good intentions, eat less, sport more, take more private time, all those kind of things. And within 2 weeks, poof, all those good intentions disappear. And the same when you have things, if you look at the business world, you coach somebody, they say, okay, you have to do A, B, C. And it makes all sense to them. And they write it down and they put it in their calendar. I'm going to ABC. I'm going to talk with that about it. You see them 2 weeks later because you ask, is there something that would hold you back? No, it's all clear, Chris. I'm going to do it. 2 weeks later, you speak to them. How did it go? Yeah, no, didn't happen. And you hear all the didn't happen. And I know in my beginning time, we expected it because it was procrastination, fear, and all kind of things that happened. And what do you need to step over the fear? And it always was frustrating because I could not get people really to change or help them to change or coach them to change. So in my journeys, I learned an NLP, clinical hypnotherapy. I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist, psychotherapist, constellations, Reiki, you name it, I've almost done it. Why? To learn what is holding us back. And I came aware, and that's when you talk about the biggest invention, and it's also what where we talk about, is that we have three brains. So biologically, evolutionary, we have, of course, one we have in our head. We all know that. But we also have really a brain in our heart, and we really have a brain in our gut, in our whole viscera. And people say, oh, is that so special? Now, we all say to people, follow your gut feeling. Oh, why don't you follow your heart? Think about it logically, but we don't know what it actually means criteria-wise. What kind of criteria are you going to make a decision on when you say to somebody, follow your gut? Probably it's different than follow your logic. But what is it? Most people say, I don't know. Probably it's your instinct. And if you say follow your heart, oh, probably it's your emotions. Which instinct, which emotions? Now, if you really can come to the breakthrough, they have actually three different distinct strategies and objectives based on evolution, based on the neurotransmitters and hormones they actually can release physically. So you can right away see, hey, they are in charge of these kind of hormones or neurotransmitters. They release them that change this in our behavior. Now, if you then look at that, and you know that those three brains have a memory, and they can make independent decisions, then in that moment, actually, it becomes clear why people actually sometimes get stuck or don't do the things. Because we all talk about limiting beliefs, we know that, limiting beliefs, or maybe highly impactful events, traumas that can stop us. But where are they stored? Now, the breakthrough claim that although we know them in our head, what happened to us, and we know I'm not good enough, I have to succeed, I have to work harder, I cannot cry, I should always win, we know all those beliefs, but actually they are stored in your heart or in your gut, based on actually if they're more relational oriented or more survival oriented. And what does that mean? That means if one of those beliefs or limiting beliefs, protecting beliefs, or highly impactful event traumas, some are connected with the topic you like to achieve, it just stops it. And people don't do it, and they procrastinate, escape, and then they talk about the fearfulness, or didn't feel like it, or do it next time. So when you start then working with people on actually their 3 wisdom centers, brain centers, where it is stored, and you start coaching them on the beliefs or highly impactful events, traumas they held in their heart or in their gut, then you see actually long-lasting change. And you see that people from not succeeding, boom, get into succeeding. And it sounds so easy, yeah? Okay, just change it in your heart. Now, that doesn't help so easy, yeah? Just to say one example why people say, oh, Chris, but it sounds so simple, we can do that. Elena, maybe not you, because you look really great, but people around you, just imagine. You make a logical shopping list to go to the grocery store. A logical what is healthy. So besides the carrots and the vegetables and the fruits and some other kind of stuff, you make a list what you're going to buy in the grocery store. And you ask, is that doable? Yes, it's doable. Are you going to do it? Yes, you're going to do it. Are you only going to buy this? Yes, I'm only going to buy this. Okay. Then the same person, you don't let them have breakfast. You don't have them had lunch. And just before dinner, when they're really hungry, really, really, really hungry, you send them to the grocery store. What do you think that will happen? Will they follow the shopping list they made? And I see you already start laughing. Or will they come home with something else, Elena?
Yeah, I think they will just grab everything they see.
Absolutely. That's why I see you laughing. Eh? Yeah. And this is actually when the logic is overtaken by your gut brain. Your gut brain is hungry. You're hungry. Your gut brain says, okay, there's a survival need. And just says, I override all the logic, all the things you said I will do. I just override it and do something else. And if we cannot even do a simple shopping grocery and keep ourselves there, then it's not a lack of discipline. It's not a lack of willpower. It's not a lack of, oh, I'm not smart enough because you had your list. It's actually your other brains take over. And evolution-wise, your gut brain is actually the strongest because it's about survival. So to override it with logic is extremely difficult, really extremely difficult, as we just had in a simple example. Now, the same is your heart. I don't know how to do, Anna, but I know my mom sometimes said when I introduced her to a girlfriend of mine, ooh, that is not a wise one. And then I explained to my mom, I know better. And you know, those teenage stupidness. And then actually after 1, 2, 3 months, my mom was totally right. And I had a broken heart, felt bad and those kind of stuff. Because my heart was actually overriding my logic, what my mom was seeing. And I probably also saw, because I knew it, but then I said to my mom, yeah, she will not do that to me. Maybe she did it to other persons, but she loves me, so she doesn't do it to me. I don't know how it's with you, but I was the naive one and now got your heart broken. We all know those examples. And that is actually when you came back to your first question was the breakthrough. That's a massive breakthrough because the moment you know that, when you talk about entrepreneurs, business people, people who like to achieve something, the moment you come aware, hey, I have 3 brains and which of my 3 brains is actually stopping me to get there, then you can really do a beautiful intervention and coach them on that part. And then you see actually, poof, they get there, they succeed. And they have something like, Wow, Chris, that was rather simple, actually. I didn't know it was so simple. Yeah, but it's just getting the right things out. Now, that's a really long answer on your question, Elena.
Yes, it's so true. People already know so much,
Yeah,
and the problem is not that they need more information. The problem is that, as you said, there is a huge gap between what we know and what we do. As people go for trainings, they sit, make decisions, but it doesn't mean that they will do what they decide to do. And this is a big problem. Yes, because we we do not what we know, but we do how we are conditioned and what takes, like, what is in control. And interesting that people know what they have to do to achieve their goal, and they feel the biggest break, like that,
yeah,
something that holds them back from taking the steps that bring them, like, say 80% of results, and they feel like something holding them back from doing exactly those steps which they have to do. And instead of that, they just do other things that they just feel comfortable, knowing that maybe that will not bring results, but they just feel good doing that.
yeah,
And for success, we know that we have to stop doing that what you just feel good and start doing what you don't want to do,
yeah.
because that is what will get you further.
Yeah, it's beautiful what you said. The last, especially the last thing, is so beautiful. Eh? We do what feels good on that moment. Now, there's one thing that most people don't know: your heart and your gut don't know time, and they're just like a dog or a cat. They always live in the present. That's extremely good, but it also means when we have to do something that is good for the business, good for us, and it is time oriented. So now I have to do some things, and probably next week, next month, next year, I see the results. Your heart or gut says, I don't know next year, but I know now that looking at social media is fun. I know now actually watching YouTube is fun. I know now actually, I don't know, going out for a coffee is fun. So they make a decision in instant gratification because they don't know the long-term results. And that stops also massive people, because if your heart or gut take over, they choose for now. What can we do now to make us feel good now? And you see that in a lot of sitcoms, and when people feel bad, what do they do when they feel bad? They say your heart is feeling sore, heartbroken, sad, whatever things. What does then our body do? Your gut says, oh, the heart feels bad. The whole body feels sad. Okay, let me think. What can I do to make us happy? What is in my qualities? I'm responsible for nutrition, so food and drinks. I'm responsible for reproduction, and I'm responsible fight and flight. Okay, what is the first one? Food and drinks. Okay, what can I do actually in food and drinks that makes us happy again? Hey, let's do ice cream therapy. Let's do white wine therapy. Let's do chocolate therapy. Let's do cheese therapy. What it means actually, it provides us food, because food right away gives us a satisfied feeling, and it makes us feel good for the moment. So the gut brain takes over to soothe the heart, actually, now to put some stuff in. And the gut brain doesn't think, okay, but next week or tomorrow I'm on the scale. And that scale will say actually 1 kilo more based on the chocolate, the cheese, and the wine I just had. And if I do that for a couple of days, then actually in 1 week it will show even worse. Because the gut doesn't think about tomorrow or the day after. It thinks about what does it need now. And that stops people so massively in achieving something. And when you talk about discipline, discipline a lot of times is a logical thing. Just push through. Now, the number of people who can really start pushing through is only the gold medal winners and maybe airplane warrior things. They are chosen to actually be extremely strong, logical. But for most of us, and it's more than 90% of the world, we are not having that genetic predisposition. So that means we're just normal humans, and our gut brain just takes over. So we fall down the bandwagon. I still remember video or a documentary about Arnold Schwarzenegger, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. When he was in his bodybuilding time, they asked him once, how many sets of bench press do you do? Or how many repetitions? And he said, I don't know. I start counting when it starts being painful. Now, most people stop when it's getting painful. Tenminste, I don't know if it's you, but I stop when it's painful. Oh, ow, okay. One more. Ow, okay, it's good. He started counting. So he was able logically to overrun actually the pain, because pain is a signal, stop. And most people stop. He was able to go through. Hence, he was world champion bodybuilding for many, 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 many years. And after that, he made a career in the movies and make a career actually as a politician and be governor of California. So he made 3 different careers based on his extremely strong overriding system. Now, there's one Arnold Schwarzenegger and 8 billion people. So we are more normal. We stop when our gut brain says pain. What makes sense? And that's what you said. To make that succeed in your business as an entrepreneur or leader, sometimes you have to, what they say, bite the bullet. And that is actually going against your internal system on that moment, knowing that it actually is good for you, but be able to overrun that system. And therefore, you have to coach actually the gut brain. It's allowed now to do a little bit more. But what is stopping your gut brain, besides the natural evolutionary stop for pain or discomfort, because it stops from discomfort, is a lot of times limiting beliefs or experiences that actually make that stop stronger. If you never learned just bite the bullet in your upbringing or those kind of stuff, but you learned somewhere just stop earlier, you stop earlier. I still know that from my own experience. And when I was young, I was doing the Olympic triathlon. 1 kilometer swimming, 40 biking, 10 running. I was not the best in it. I was in, say, in the best 5%. Never the first best percent. So when there were 100 people running, I came somewhere at 10 or 20s. Anyhow, I always know in Amsterdam where I was living, my dad was my biggest supporter and coach. So when we start in the run, we had to run twice around, say, the rowing track in Amsterdam. That's 2 kilometers to twice 5 kilometers. And the last 2 kilometers, he always said, do you see that person there? And he pointed something like 200 meters ahead. And he said, that person you're going to get before you are 1 kilometer further. So he had 1 or 2 kilometers to get to actually be 200 meters quicker than a person there. So he taught me actually bite that bullet in sports. So I learned actually sometimes to accept discomfort to get somewhere. You see that in sports happening. And it is extremely useful also in careers and other kind of things, is you can translate that quality into other kind of things. But a lot of people never learned it and stop when it becomes discomfort. That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. This is the common denominator of success that is about doing what other people don't want to do. Yes,
Yes.
so successful people always do what other don't want to do in order to get it some other people will not. Yes, and this is always with related to overcome the discomfort, because discomfort is natural reaction
Yeah.
for something new. Yes, and we have to get out of our routine, common routine, in order to get something new. Otherwise, we just will get stuck and we will have the same repetition, the same results.
It is so true. Again, if you think about 3 brains evolution, if you get out of your comfort zone, besides the physical part that we just spoke about in running, and besides the physical part of that, and working longer hours or doing just a little bit more, is also the evolutionary biology. We have so much energy in our body. Say you have 100% energy. Then up to 40% of that energy is taken by your 3 brains just by thinking and processing. So up to 40% of our 100% of energy we have daily is taken by 3 brains. So you have 60% left to do all your other stuff. And the moment we step out of the comfort zone, it means learning. It means we have to do something else. Learning means actually that your 3 brains have to create new connections, new pathways. It's almost like walking on the street where there's no, say, any disturbance, and walking through the forest or walking through a field with high grass. It takes a lot of effort. And only if you go 20 times to that high grass, then you create a path, and so it becomes easier. So it takes a lot of energy to go through that path of high grass, to learn something new. So that 40% maybe becomes 50% by learning something new. So what our evolutionary body says, I only will allow the whole system to give it more energy if I know it is really beneficial. Otherwise, I just waste energy, and you never know if that's useful for my survival needs. Because if I have left energy, then maybe I can do something. So your body or your three brains stop you if that extra energy for getting out of your comfort zone, as you said, Elena, or learning is not really seen as beneficial. Now, and then the limiting beliefs and highly experienced the traumas we had in life step in. Because your limiting beliefs or your traumas from the past, and the trauma doesn't mean you have been beaten up, but just you did not succeed. Somebody laughed at you. You had to do it 5 times and people said, oh, wow, you're stupid. It can be small kind of traumas that really were painful in that moment. Those then step in and say, no. Elena, 20 years ago you did it and you didn't succeed. Don't do it again. Elena, you're not good enough. It will not succeed. And those limiting beliefs or early experiences actually stop you from getting out of your comfort zone or to learn. And people don't do it anymore. And logically, it doesn't make sense, because logically you could say, yeah, but if I do this, I will have success. And then, yeah, but it takes a lot of time. Oh, it takes a lot of effort. Oh, no, I will not do it. Because somewhere in our belief systems here, it says, okay, I'm not going to spend that energy in it because I don't see the results based on previous experiences. And that stops then again people to change. So it is actually from that part, and it was coming back to my breakthrough, we are extremely simple creatures, we humans. We make it difficult because we have a beautiful head and we analyze so much so we think we know. But actually the most of the things that stops us are actually really primal beliefs or experiences from the past. And they are stored in your heart and gut. And they don't change just saying, hey, Elena, can you just change your heart and start trusting again? Now, we can say that and you say, yeah, I can. Logically, your heart says, will not happen. I don't know, you see it sometimes when people say to you, oh, Elena, just trust me. And you don't know the person so much. Logically, you could say, I could trust you, and see you laughing right away from, yeah, it will not happen. But then your whole system says, I'm not going just to trust his or her words. Let me first let it see happening before it happens. So logically, we could say yes, but your body or your other two brains will say no, and then it doesn't happen.
Yes, because we communicate not only verbally, but
Yeah.
our subconscious communicates faster. Yes, and our even more than that, that sometimes people say so good and it looks like or everything is right, but inside you can feel that no, something is wrong. I just feel that disconnection. Yes, so our that intuition always speaks to us, yes, more than words.
What you just said, I'd just like to comment on that. You said subconscious and intuition. And okay, that was always it. The subconscious, that was always annoying me, because where is your subconscious located, Elena? And where's your subconscious? Ask it people, and people don't know. They point somewhere in their body, but actually they don't know. Your subconscious is actually your heart and your gut, if you make it simple. Those are the silent voices you somewhere come in. That's your subconscious. Your intuition is a little bit more difficult, because intuition can be internal intuition and external intuition. Internal intuition is based on all your experiences. You are experienced. So your heart knows, your gut knows, and your head knows. So then from information you somewhere see but not process quickly enough as your head, actually your heart, your gut say it's good or wrong. And it is that what we see in people, and there's so much research about it, in interviews for a job, that people know in 20 seconds if I'm going to hire or not hire. Actually, an interview can take 1 minute. Only it's really rude to do 1 minute interview, so you make it longer. But in 20 seconds, people know. And how do they know? Their intuition, based on all their experiences, the heart and gut says yes or no. That's internal intuition. External intuition comes from something more beautiful, and that is, you can call it quantum physics. That is, let's ask. Elena, did it ever happen to you that you entered, say, a room where people were in the room for a party or a congress, or maybe in one of your sessions you do in the masterminds, that you entered and it's like, hey, something happened in this room. A strange atmosphere is here. Did they have a discussion? Did they have a laugh? Did they have something else? Did it ever happen to you? That you just sensed something was happening in that room without that you knew what, but within 2 seconds you knew it? That is external intuition. Energy-wise, we can sense. And it means our heart emits energy that can be measured 9 meters outside your body. So we can actually sense the heart coherence of other people. And if their people are stressed, the heart coherence is, if they're at ease or having fun, it's more at ease. So your heart and sensory systems can actually come aware, hey, how is the hearts of other people actually originating? And you can feel that. Research has shown that ladies who live in a monastery, nuns, synchronize even their period. Not because they make a discussion, hey, Elena, when is yours? When is mine? Now mine is the 20th, when is yours? It's not logical, but our body synchronizes. Our bodies talk with each other. So that's external intuition, and your heart and also your gut can sense that. And if you ask, how do they sense that? They don't have ears, they don't have a nose, they don't have a mouth. That's actually energy and light. Research already shown 30, 40 years ago that every cell in our body communicates with light. And it is internal and external. So we can actually access energy from other people. And if you then come back now, let's make it normal again to entrepreneurs and business people who listening to this think van energy systems. Oh, hallelujah. What is happening here? That is extremely important because the really successful people sense the room. And they sense how they deal with other people. It's not always knowledge. The real masters can sense it. They can connect in a different level with other people. It's almost the sixth sense. So that means, one, they're totally aligned with themselves, so they're able to receive the information. And secondly, they can then, based on the information they receive from the other persons, make better decisions, better communication, and better kind of things. It's not purple hocus pocus abracadabra. It's just what happens daily for every person. And if people think, make it more logical, Chris, then one little experiment. Elena, do you have you don't have to say what, do you have a favorite position to lying in your bed, right or left?
Yes.
Yes. Why is that? Why do you prefer to lay more in your left or more in the right? Why is that? Hey, you don't know. But that's energy, because you like to have a person next to you on this side or on that side. That's energy-wise. The same if people are sitting in the bus or in the train or in a plane, most times they choose a seat where they feel more comfortable. And if you stand next to people, and I did this experiment with almost every training I did, and let people just stand and put somebody next right to them and say, how is it? And let the same person be on the left. And almost more than 90% has a preference. Oh, they put the person there. Oh, they put the person there. It does not make logically sense, but it makes energy-wise a lot of sense. Because then, if you then let them do, say, an exercise together, you see different outcomes. If they put the person in their favorite position, they have a better communication and a better connection with each other than if you put them in an unfavorite position. And there is no logic in there. It is energy-wise true. And those are the little things that the natural achievers in entrepreneurs or businesses do almost natural. So they are in tune with themselves. And when they come into the room, they make a decision, hey, where I'm going to sit on the table, where I'm going to sit with the other person. Not because logic says I have to sit in the front of somebody or have to sit in the side of somebody, but they really sense, hey, how is our connection? What would be the best actually to sit with Elena? And not based on rules, what you read. Oh, you have to sit on the right side of somebody or on the left side of somebody or in front of somebody, 1 meter or 30 centimeters distance. But they sense actually what feels the best. And they almost maneuver to come aware, hey, what is actually the best position to talk to Elena? And if they find that, they sit there and it feels natural for both of them and have a better connection and more success.
Yeah, great, Christopher. I have one question before we wrap up this
Yeah.
episode. We have a few minutes left. So, how to find what is like what makes people stuck? As you said, that something is inside, like that gut or heart,
Yeah.
brain, yes, gets in like on the way. So, how to understand and how to get that balance between all these three hearts to go through and not let them stop you anymore?
Uh, Extremely good question. Eh? Now, we discussed it part, but one, and that is what most people are somewhere aware of, is actually what are my beliefs and what are my limiting beliefs. So just for yourself to make a list, what are actually beliefs I hold on? From I'm not good enough, I always have to win, I cannot cry, I cannot show empathy, I should put others first before myself, or all kind of things. So those are one list. That because then you know your heart or your gut will stop you in those kind of things. It will stop you from doing something. Secondly, and that's much more, when you like to do something, as we said, you like to do something, and then you think, oh, but this feels better, to come aware, hey, what's actually happening inside me? Because the moment you say, oh, I like to do something else as what I actually decided to do, something inside us is saying, I don't see actually the advantage or the benefit of doing it now. And it means almost you have to re-educate your head, your heart, or your gut to make it aware it has benefits. And we all feel that, because the moment I'm waking up and instead of looking at my email, I'm going to watch YouTube, I know something is happening inside me. And it can mean I didn't have a coffee to wake up, or didn't do my procedures, I didn't do my yoga, or maybe I'm just tired, or maybe on that moment, I don't see the benefit of doing my emails. And on that moment, actually coming aware, hey, which brain, as my book is called, which brain is talking? And the moment you know which brain is talking, hey, my head doesn't see the logic of doing my emails. Because actually I should prepare my talk with Elena. Because this is what happened this morning. I thought, oh, let's do my emails. Then I thought, oh, you have a podcast with Elena. No. First you're going to look at the stuff from Elena to be prepared. So that was a logical thing. But it also can be a hard thing from, oh yeah, but my partner is actually now in Barcelona. I live in Madrid. Okay, let's first call her. How she's doing. And then I get procrastination because my heart says actually something. Or I could get procrastination from my gut. My gut says, let's first do a coffee and then let's do something. I need some energy. Now, those are simple examples of your three brains talking. But that happens on a daily basis, that you change your route. And just coming aware and really pause and think, really come aware, hey, which brain is talking now to do something else? What is the reason that it says something else? And what does it need actually to come back to the things I decided to do? And what does it need? Because 9 out of 10, your heart, your head, or your gut needs something to do it. My head needs a logical answer. My heart needs the connection, and my gut needs somewhere the survival needs from food, drinks, and other kind of stuff. And then it becomes easier. And it sounds so simple, and it is so simple. Yeah, I was at a coaching as an example recently, the person said, oh, let's first take a coffee, Chris. And it was a physical one. So when we walked through his office, I said, where do we get coffee? Because there's a coffee machine. No, let's go to the restaurant. The internal, and I thought, internal restaurant, that's a 5-minute walk. So I really asked, okay, say, what is really happening here? He said, how do you mean? I said, we have a coaching, we have 1 hour. A coffee is, say, somewhere at 20 meters away from your office, but you like to go to the internal restaurant. That's a 5-minute walk. So there is something happening now that gives you that decision? And he says, I don't know, I just like to have a coffee. And I thought, I just like to sit there. I said, yeah, you just like to sit there. What's the reason that you like to sit there? And when we're walking, he's like, what is the reason I like to sit there? So because the restaurant, due with all respect, is not now the most coziest place to sit with a coffee. I said, yeah, that's right. And what actually was, he had before that say, let's call it an argument. And that argument make his gut brain make a decision, I like to avoid, I like to walk away. So his gut brain make a decision, I like to really walk away from the situation I had before my coaching. And his gut brain make the decision, I'm going to walk to the internal restaurant of 5 minutes. I like to get out of this system. And the moment he became aware of it, he said, oh, wow, I'm actually walking away what happened before our coaching, Chris. That's why I like to go there, not because I like to have a coffee, actually, because then I could have get it there. That would be logical. But actually, my body says, I like to escape the situation before. And that awareness made me ask, okay, what do we do with this? He said, no, actually, it's interesting that it said, so I also need to become aware, actually, what is the reason I like now to walk away instead of maybe do a confrontation or something? Or what actually my strategy? So actually the whole coaching went about his internal decision to walk away from it. But 9 out of 10 people are not aware of it, why they do what they do. But when he came aware what he did, actually after the coaching, he made the decision, hey, I'm coming back to that person I had the argument with or that discussion with. I'm going actually do A, B, C, D to solve it. To get my gut brain happy again and my system happy again. So actually, after the coaching, now we went to that person, had a talk, and he texted me later, WhatsApp me later. Chris, this was the best coaching ever. Okay, that's an interesting, strong statement. He said, because I came aware actually how my internal system sometimes is sabotaging me from finding the solution. I should have had the discussion with the person, but my gut brain said avoid it, walk away, but would never have solved it. By putting that awareness back on it, I went back to the person, finished actually our talk, our discussion, or our argument, whatever you like to call it. I'm now totally happy with it. And actually, the person also knows where the boundaries are and what can and cannot be done. He said, I would never have thought about that if you didn't ask me. Then probably I would have said, okay, I don't like the person, was a nasty whatever's, and probably moved on with my life and with my work again. Now actually, put the position there and actually learn something to start listening to my internal systems, what they guide me. So as an example, long example on what you said.
Yes, really great to understand that there are these three brains, and when we make decisions to do something, we should ask ourselves where it comes from and what can be the reason.
Yeah.
And yes, so is it the really right thing to do? Will it bring me to my goal?
Yeah.
Or I have to do something that will? Yes,
Yeah.
so it is all about decisions and awareness. And it was so powerful episode and discussion today. And I learned a lot today for myself. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to read your book. Yes, so
That's beautiful. I love to hear your comments. A new book will be on in a couple of months. But I love to hear, because what I love say about my book, which relationships, which brain is talking, although it's about relationships, it gives an insight how we act with our three brains in everything we have as a relationship. Because we have relationships, of course, interpersonal, but also intercollegial, and just on the street. How do you deal with those kind of things? And it always sparks me if we start doing it, especially in relationships and the intimate relationships with your parents, kids, and loved ones, it makes them better. And if they become better, there is less, almost optimistic divorce fights, and also kids who grow up, with parents who are actually somewhere in a dispute. So it will make this world a better place. And if you put it in colleagues and in the workplace, and that's my big dream, we have less toxic leadership. We have really companies that flourish. Because still the statistics show, and probably and then maybe all our listeners, that's not with us, that only 33% of the companies worldwide are actually really engaged, where the people are engaged. There are a few companies who can hit the 70% of engagement, but they think that is high. So 7 of the 10 are engaged in a company. If you would have an average soccer team with 7 of the 10 people engaged, you would lose every game. In sports, 70% of the team engaged is a losing game. But somewhere in companies, we accept it. So if you start learning about this, it will create actually much, much, much more engagement. And then the companies where all your listeners are working for, or their own companies, would thrive much more in results, success, but also happiness, and people stay and really find a purpose in what they're doing. So in that part, I love that you would read it and love that everybody would read it, because it would make us all flourish and happy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. So whenever it is published, send us the link and I
Yeah.
will put in the description to this video. And maybe in future also we can record another video where we will speak about practical, like how to do that, how to start understanding your 3 brains and how to practically get them in alignment, that they will not be your enemies, but they will help you and support you to achieving your goals.
I love to do so, Elena, because the moment we can help people to do so, say my little dream or big dream comes out, that the world becomes a better place, that the companies become a better place, that we start living actually a life that is enjoyable. So I love to do so, Elena.
Thank you so much, Christoffel. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
our episode and looking forward to see you again.
Thank you, Elena.